Isabella. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for joining us for this historic 75th International Astronautical Congress here in Milan. We've broken all the records. I can confirm we're well over 11,000 registered delegates. We expect another 3,000 plus tomorrow on Public Day. So really, it's been a pleasure to preside over this meeting of our space family and watch it grow. So we're glad you're here. It's my pleasure to give you a little bit of an introduction to this GNF this afternoon, which is a subject that I've been paying very close attention to over the past few years, and really, I think, one of the more fascinating subjects that we're talking about in space today, which is how do we utilize and how do we understand both humans long-term in space. So if you think about, by the way, what we're going to be talking about at the next IAC, when we get to Sydney, they've talked about this very point, which is ensuring that humans can live safely, securely, healthily, that's not a word. They can be healthy living off planet, yeah? So this is one of the areas that we're going to talk about this afternoon. And as well, how do we use the technology and evolution using microgravity or zero gravity or even lunar gravity or Mars gravity to be able to do things that we cannot fabricate here on Earth, or we can do better in space or uniquely in space. So these are things like growing organs in space, other things we can do biologically with that zero gravity affords that we can't do here in the 1G world that we live in right now here on planet Earth. So there's been a lot of promise in this area. There's a lot of interest in it from companies outside of our space sector that are thinking about how can they leverage the capability. What's been really constraining in this area for a long time was kind of how long it takes to get up on the ISS, how hard it is to build something scientifically and then be able to get that data back and actually make a business out of it. Or, not to say that the National Lab isn't trying, they're not doing good stuff on the ISS. There's been an amazing amount of research. JAXA, ESA, US, NASA has been trying to do this. But there's, I think, what we see that's coming with a lot of the commercial operators in low Earth orbit is now the ability to do this very rapidly. And also to do it in a way where the approach can be quite innovative and not restricted by bandwidth, for instance, in orbit, using laser communications, using Starlink and other platforms to be able to get data down, using computing, edge computing and other platforms to be able to take this data and do some things. So it's really a very exciting time. We appreciate Boryung, who's one of our silver sponsors here, to take a focus on this really interesting and exciting topic. These guys, I think, have had an amazing presence here at the IAC this week, and we're really happy that they're here to join and help talk about this. So thank you guys for sponsoring. We appreciate it, and I'm really proud to have you here. And please, Jay, come up. The CEO of Boryung is here with us today. Please come on up.
Thank you for the quick introduction, Clay. And it's day 3 of IAC, and this is my 4th time coming up to a podium and give this presentation. And since we only have 30 minutes, I really want to save the time for the panel because we do have such a wonderful panel here. So I want to listen to them. So I'll be really, really quick on explaining what we're doing. So we call ourselves Multiplanetary Human Life Enabler. Not just us, but the partners who are working with us. So SpaceX, Axiom, and Intuitive Machines, companies like them are building the infrastructures that is necessary for us to go beyond Earth. And what we're trying to do is to take advantage of the infrastructures that are building and send more people there, and for the people and humanity to function and live and thrive as a human in different places in space. So how do we know that? It is important because our company founded as a pharmacy a long time ago, almost 7 years ago, as my grandfather is a founder. And the essence of pharmacy and the pharmaceutical business is to take care of human health on Earth. And we're just taking that to beyond Earth. And we understand that there has been a tremendous underinvestment when it comes to human health in space, and an opportunity to leverage the different environment that we have in microgravity and in space. So because we already know through the works of NASA and many space agencies around the world that we already know about the potential problems that we might face. And in order to, by being involved in resolving these issues, we will be able to understand the physiology of our body itself, which will eventually lead to better treatments or better way of treating people down on Earth. So this is how I explain what we do in our company. So in different places in space, we will face very different issues in our body. So in order to solve them, we bring together partners around the world. I call them problem seekers and problem solvers to gather the problems that we will face and provide the solutions. And second, we also want to work with the partners to prepare them to launch their research activities and return them safely on Earth to analyze it and maybe lead it to the products to market. And thirdly and lastly, we work closely with our partners to create and secure the infrastructures that are necessary to conduct these research activities in space. So that's what we do. And it will be necessary, and more than necessary, it will be very significant for everyone around the world because we know that more of us will be going to space and spend more time, go there more often, and go further. So we really need to be prepared. So that's what we're doing. And I really want to appreciate the work that our team has put on to have this presence in IAC, and really want to thank IAF for the support. And for now, I want to introduce Jack from my company to moderate this session. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm really happy to be here today, and that I'll be your moderator. My name is Jack Lim. I'm the head of New Portfolio Investment Group, and I was very fortunate to lead the space healthcare, our initiative, which is called Humans in Space Program, from the beginning. And we started 2.5 years ago. Mostly, we try to be the global space initiative, but we initially focused on more like the United States base, and then we luckily get connected with NASA. But now we start having our relationship with the ESA, and then through this IAC opportunity, we have a more chance to connect with the European experts. So here today, we're going to talk about more Humans in Space program, and also how Europeans think about and what European expertise has studied about space healthcare previously. So I'd like to introduce on our panel today. Please, round of applause after each I introduce our esteemed guest today. So first one, Dr. Jens Jordan. He's the director of Institute of Aerospace Medicine at DLR. And Jens and DLR are already part of Humans in Space ecosystem. Ladies and gentlemen, Jens Jordan. And our next guest, Audrey Batia. She's the executive director of MEDIS, the Institute for Space Physiology and Medicine, an institute really leading translation of space health research into application in Europe. And Audrey has been part of Humans in Space since the beginning. Audrey? And our third guest, Dr. Jonathan Scott. Jonathan is the group leader at the ESA Space Medicine team. ESA's space medicine is based in European Astronaut Center, where they support astronaut mission operation, including biomedical engineering. Please. And our that last guest, Dr. Serena Pezzilli. Dr. Serena Pezzilli is involved in orbital and suborbital human spaceflight activities in Italian Space Agency, and she was actively engaged in the commercial mission AX Mission 3. right. So, like I just explained, we are having a Humans in Space program, which is about gathering different ideas in terms of tackling a problem in astronaut health in space, and also using microgravity condition to solve all different kind of health problems. And we gather those incredible ideas into our platform, and we connect them to right partners, right expertise, and then Boryung as main sponsor, we continuously fund those so that those ideas can be accelerated into the development. So that's what we have done from the beginning, 2022. And luckily, we can connect it through the IAC this time, especially the Boryung was the first, became the IAF member 2024. And then being the first presence in IAC is a very good opportunity to get connected with the European experts. So like I explained about the human healthcare, but I think we're going to talk about today more about the European expertise about space healthcare previously. So I'd like to ask a question first, Dr. Jens Jordan. I think Jens Jordan has been the part of our humans in space ecosystem, and Boryung has MOU with the DLR yesterday as well. And then, so DLR seems to be very specialized in targeting space healthcare and to improve human health in space and on Earth. So, but also DLR has a very good facility to have an experiment internally in space agency level. So can you explain about what some area targeting DLR specializing, and then what kind of infrastructure facility that you guys have as well?
Yes, Jack, thank you. I think the main areas we are working on, of course, with our friends and colleagues from other centers, is we really try to enable safe and healthy space exploration, which will face completely new challenges that we haven't really faced in the past in low Earth orbit. I guess the second part that we are really interested in is to make low Earth orbit a safe place to live and work. So I think in the future, more and more people will travel to low Earth orbit, will work there, will have a job in low Earth orbit. So occupational health becomes an important topic. It will be a lot more inclusive than space travel nowadays, people with health limitations. So that's the second area we are interested in. We always try to link space and Earth. So we conduct research, or the research findings and technologies that we develop for people in space are translated to improve the lives of patients on Earth. And I guess the last part that we're really interested in is, let's say, the future economy in low Earth orbit, let's say facilities where you can conduct research, develop products for biomedical or biotechnology purposes. How can we participate in that part? And to do all that, we have a relatively broad research and development program, covering all the, let's say, health areas that are important, ranging from cardiovascular, muscle and skeletal, radiation, psychology, so a broad range of areas and expertise. And we have very, let's say, unique facilities to conduct this research. So I guess the most visible facility in Cologne is probably the NVHAP facility, where we conduct simulation studies in humans, bed rest studies, in the future isolation studies, but now also where we also have facilities to change atmosphere conditions and other environmental conditions that are relevant for people in space. And we combine this with a lot of, let's say, expertise in conducting these studies. You need the facility, but you also need the people with the expertise. But we also have other facilities. So for example, we are intimately involved in biological research as part of the MARFOS program, Sounding Rocket program. So how can we bring biological experiments and test them faster in space? So these are some of the facilities that we have, or some of the programs.
Would you also share a recent experiment that has been conducted on your team as well?
Oh, I'm not sure how much time you have because there's so much exciting stuff going on, and right now we are very, very proud that right now the NASA battery study is running at our center that focuses on sensory motor dysfunction, which is a major problem. Just imagine you are in weightlessness for a long time, land on the moon, trip, fall. I mean that's really could be life-threatening, and how can we prevent that? And that's part of the study, and we are very proud to be a center for this NASA study. So that's an example of an ongoing study.
Okay, thank you very much. Audrey, I think we know how important METIS has been critical working with the ESA and then solving all different kind of space healthcare problem. But for the audience, those who might not be familiar with the METIS, can you share a little bit about the role of METIS? And then the similar question to Jordan was, what kind of space healthcare been focusing on your institution?
Yeah, hello everyone. So I'm the director of METIS, which is the French Institute for Space Physiology and Medicine. We're located south of France, and we were created more than 35 years ago by the French Space Agency and the Toulouse University Hospital, one of the top-level hospitals in France, with two main missions. The first one is to provide expertise in the field of space physiology and medicine, not only internally, but with a very wide network of partners, both academic and industrial partners. And the second mission, which is also really important, is to try to accelerate some innovation for the benefits of patients, either through the links with space exploration or with other space assets utilization like satellite services, satellite data. So we have three main activities. The first one is dedicated to support to space mission, so medical follow-up of the crew, but also support for science and microgravity in the field of life sciences. We also do clinical research along with our colleagues from Germany, and of course in an integrated way, which is managed by ESA. So we have a clinical research facility within the hospital where we do bed rest study, tri-immersion study, and also studies outside the space field. And last but not least, we have this innovation department where we really try to make the link between the space and the health ecosystem, trying to use space challenges, space environments, other space assets to try to accelerate innovations for the benefits of patients. So of course, innovation that may contribute to crew health maintenance for future mission, but also other aspects for Earth applications.
Thank you very much. I'll get to ask more questions after introduction on other panels today, because due to the time limit, I have more question about the plan and the direction in the next one. Jonathan, you're the part of ESA Space and Medicine Office, and also ESA European Astronaut Center is also working closely with METIS as well. And what kind of area of space healthcare you've tackling to solve the problem for the human space exploration recently?
I mean, everything we do is broadly separated into technology and knowledge. And technologies are the bits of hardware, the bits of software that we need to monitor, to diagnose, to treat astronauts. And we are not technology developers at the Astronaut Center. We are very much technology finders. So we rely on our partners in the different ESA member states. We rely on industry across Europe to try and find those technologies. Increasingly now in medical care, those technologies will come from terrestrial medicine. They won't be generated by the space agencies themselves. So part of my role is to go out and try and find where those technologies are. Can we adapt those technologies? Can we bring them into our program? And where we can't find those technologies, then we collaborate with the ESA Technology Directorate, and we kickstart projects to actually develop those technologies as prototypes and try and fill those technology gaps. On the knowledge side, we collaborate with ESA Life Sciences. So they are the ones who actually generate the life sciences information, and they do that in collaboration with all of the very the vast range of ESA scientists that exist within the ESA member states. So I think we bring the problems, we bring the questions, and then we rely on our colleagues in ESA Life Sciences and the scientists in the ESA member states to help us answer those questions as well. In terms of priorities, we have kind of priorities for missions that are coming up soon and missions that will occur in the future. So for Gateway, for example, these missions are now potentially much shorter than ISS missions. So some of the very long-term problems, the chronic adaptation to microgravity, those problems will go away temporarily. Of course, they will come back for Mars missions. But for things like Gateway, we're now going to be a little bit further away from Earth. We're going to have evacuation delays, which means if we have problems, it's going to take us. We'll need new plans to manage how we manage people for 2, 3, 4, 7 days before we can bring them home. We'll also have communication delays, so it may be 4, 5, 6, 8 seconds between a message coming down to us and a message going back up. So although Gateway, for example, is not going to be an autonomous platform for human spaceflight, there are certain medical procedures, certain medical things that we may need to plan for the fact that astronauts will need to be able to take care of those things themselves. Ultrasound, I think, is a great example of this. On ISS, we provide either remote support, where an ultrasonographer on the ground actually supports people in flight, or remote commanding, where we can actually control the device from the ground. If you have real-time support, that's fantastic. If you have an 8-second time delay between messages going backwards and forwards, maybe it's not so reliable. So we don't need autonomous diagnosis of ultrasound images, but what we do need is the ability for crew members to collect high-quality images independently of us, and then we can still get those images back down to the ground for the expert support that we can still provide.
Thanks for sharing all the information. I think most of the project that you mentioned was based on Recover in Humans in Space program, and then I think through this opportunity, I think we can be more connected through our program from the next year. I think it's such a great chance to get connected, Jonathan Scott. Dr. Serena, I think we had a conversation at our booth about 30 minutes yesterday, and then we talked about how Italian Space Agency has been focusing on space healthcare in numerous projects in ISS, and especially recently AX-3 mission, the Colonel Walter Villaday, and that mission was you're leading as well, involved it. And can you share a little bit about that experiment, how it goes, and also what area you've been focusing on space healthcare project?
Yes, thank you, Jack. Yes, this year we had the opportunity with the Axiom 3 mission to have an additional spaceflight opportunity, and with this new opportunity try to both consolidate some research areas in human health really important for us that are really the follow-up studies of previous research that we performed in the previous missions, but also in the meantime to perform new researchers in some specific area that we like to address in the future. And for the first kind of experiment, we focused on especially on age-related disease, neurodegenerative disease, and also disease related to muscle loss. So very important challenge issue that we need to address not only for the human spaceflight, but also for Earth. And about the new topic, the new research, we try to address some problems related to the distance from Earth and to the isolation confinement condition, which will be the problem, especially if we look at the future long-term exploration mission to Moon, to Mars. And in this context, we performed 2 experiments really interesting for identifying biomarkers, for monitoring and preventing, monitoring especially the human health in space, and in the meantime also to better understand which are the different effects induced by space environment stressors, just like microgravity and radiation, and isolation confinement conditions, which are also common to other people, other cores. So these are the main topics that we addressed during the Axiom 3 mission. More in general, what we are trying to do in the next future is just to reinforce our knowledge, and especially on these two last topics, so distance from Earth and isolation confinement conditions. And in fact, we published last month an announcement opportunity in biomedicine related to try to find solution to this topic, and especially we would like to support researcher studies which aim at developing autonomous system able to monitor, prevent, and protect the human health in the future mission.
Thank you very much. I think some example like Italian Space Agency work with the Axiom, and of course the Boryung was being the major partner and investor in Axiom Space. We're trying to accelerate what we have done past 2.5 years, which is from this year we come up with the new investment structure called orbital launch funding, which is not only we invested for this equity stake for those startup, but also we provide them the right cost to space experiment for the entire cost up to $250,000. And I think that will accelerate those startups to be more actively having experiment in space. I think that align with that. So those are our the esteemed guests will be together supporting our humans in space also from the next year as well. And so I want to ask more about the future direction and how humans in space will be contribute, and what you guys are thinking about the space healthcare in the meantime. And Jens Jordan, I think you've been very engaged with our humans in space ecosystem already, and then how you see your the DLR's direction of the space healthcare research, and how humans in space can contribute on your studies as well.
Well, perhaps let me first get back to Jay's presentation, which was very inspiring. He showed that you can, have a good idea, start with a pharmacy, and decades later you have an international pharmaceutical company. And so when you look at what we are doing, or many of the ideas that we have for space health research, we are in some areas not even in the, let's say, family pharmacy stage. So we are at a very early stage. We have fantastic ideas, I think great opportunities for the future, but a very long way to go. And in medicine, and you're from different areas of research and development in here, but in medicine it takes a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of effort to turn a good idea into a treatment or a new diagnostic facility. And so an important point is the start. How do you get started? Do you get access to space? Do you get, let's say, the first funding to get things starting? And I think that the Humans in Space initiative can probably help to do that and foster that.
Thank you very much. I would like to ask more questions, but we have kind of limited time. So I'll ask Audrey. We've been in partnership from the beginning, and then I think based on, we also had a partnership in terms of BSCGN Life Science Accelerator Program with the ESA, and how we should come up together to accelerate those startups from your side and also in the entire humans in space ecosystem.
Indeed, we are coordinating the Life Science Industry Accelerator for ESA, which is part of the Business in Space Growth Network, to help for the space providers to find new markets in pharmacological research, biotech, cosmetic, and so on. And it's very difficult for startups from the health sector to convince that space can be useful. And this is where challenges such as the Human in Space Challenge can really help. And also, the image of Boryung investing in space as well. So I think this is very interesting to help them to have a fast access to space and to ensure that they will perform high quality research with commercial space providers.
Thank you very much. Jonathan, I think you might not be familiar with, as Audrey and Jen Jordan, about the humans in space. So like I'd explained about the orbital launch funding, kind of new investment structure for those startup and researcher. And those type of investment, how do you see affect your current studies and also EAC on the space healthcare project in the meantime?
Yeah, I mean, one of the nice things or the difficult things about human spaceflight is it affects so many physiological systems and so many processes that you have a million different questions to try and answer. And right now, we don't have a million different ways of getting things into orbit to answer those questions. So any mechanism, particularly humans in space mechanism, that makes low Earth orbit more accessible, particularly highlights it to emerging and smaller companies. As I mentioned earlier, we're increasingly relying on medical technology from terrestrial companies to supplement what we do. So if those companies can be made aware of those opportunities, if there can be more opportunities to get these technologies into the microgravity environment and to test them, then it will really give a significant boost, I think, to our ability to detect which technologies are really going to work, which ones may not be the ones to chase, and then to focus our attention on the ones that really work as well. Very quickly on human studies, if you've ever been to a life sciences conference, the question you always get asked is, why haven't you got more subjects in your study? So any system that allows us to collect more data more quickly from astronauts is a huge benefit as well, and we can really answer these questions more quickly and figure out where the new knowledge gaps are based on those data that we collect.
Thank you very much. Serena, so we had a big conversation at the booth, and then please share about the entire direction of the space healthcare under your Italian Space Agency in the future, and then also about how humans in space ecosystem can contribute also Italian Space Agency agent the space and healthcare study together.
Yes, as I told before, in the future, the idea is just to reinforce some research areas of the human spaceflight and to support additional and different research areas. And we think that the ecosystem, the national ecosystem in terms of companies and also in university research institute, we should contribute for a better understanding of and find also solution and possible countermeasure for in the new research area that we would like to address. So.
All right, thank you very much. I would love to have more discussion with our guests, but I think the time's already passed. So please, if you have any question to come to ask to our guest. And like I explained earlier, the Humans in Space was the first presence in IAC, and then we will be in IAC in Sydney next year as well. So please stay tuned, and please enjoy the rest of IAC. Thank you very much.